guys. How's it going? Happy Wednesday. I hope everybody's Wednesday was good. This morning was a little hectic. That stream was a whole ass mess, really. So again, we have another. Hey, chicken lady. Cluck cluck. How's my friend Hen Lou? Hey, Aussie girl Jen. Good to see you, babe. I forgot. Oh, this morning. Oh my gosh. So okay, we had another day of, hey, Molson man. We had another day of multiple witnesses, hey, Kes chick, opting out of testimony, including, hey, Corky, good to see you. Hey, Cement Shoes. Welcome back, everybody. Well, Chicken Lady, look, I'm just going to tell you like this, okay? Hen Lou wouldn't act like that if she had ready snacks available to her. Or she had snacks readily available to her, I should say. Okay? I don't know why you're depriving that sweet hen, Lou, of the snacks, but give that baby the snacks. A happy hen makes good eggs, I guess. I don't eat eggs, but I think that would be how it would go. All right. So again, we had another day, of a ton of witnesses opting out of being videoed. There was one that agreed to have the audio played, but not be photographed or videoed. Anyway, no image, I should say. And then there was the elected sheriff who opted out. And y'all, wait till I show you this. But before we even get to that, there's another thing I want to show you. So, while we were over here trying to wait on testimony and I was hollering at Mac and Alice was sleeping like a little angel, behaving the best way she knew how and all that. Over in the Florida's courtroom, some dramas was going down at the Parkland shooter um, trial. Hang on just a second. I cannot type and talk at the same time at all. Like not even close. Because in fact, I'm talking and I'm typing and I typed what I spoke. So just so you know, we're already off to a rip roaring start. Okay. So apparently, let me set the stage for y'all. So what has been happening is oh, thank you. Support with Steffa. Thank you for becoming a member. Welcome to the Kookaloos. Hey Sam. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much. So what's been taking place is it's been the defense's turn to present. Oh, thank you, Aussie girl Jen. I appreciate that very much. Thank you so much. What's been going on is it's been the defense's side, right? They're putting on their evidence. Okay. Now they had a list of 80 witnesses that were intended to testify. Okay. So this, what I'm about to show y'all, occurred before the jury was brought in, but I just want y'all to see this because, man, I went and after I ended the live today, this morning, I went and watched this. Now my mouth was on the floor, and I don't shock easy, but this one, I wasn't ready. I mean, even though the title says, or it doesn't say, it literally reads, "Judge yells at quote insulting Parkland shooter's defense rips quote unprofessionalism." Right? So that should have prepared me for what was about to come. Yet I found myself woefully unprepared for what was about to come. And this, ladies and gentlemen, I will present to you. This is what we call a church read. Okay. So let me just add this to the stream and let's just watch and take a gander at this right quick. Let me turn her up because I don't want y'all, and I'm going to turn the closed captions on because, just in case. Oops, I clicked the wrong thing. There we go. All right. Now, wait, okay. Are you ready? Here we go.
No, ma'am, but I understand what you're saying.
Why are you standing there?
I'm
To
helping
help
you.
me. Oh, okay, who's questioning this witness? Hello, which witness? Your next witness.
Oh, you're welcome, Monster Broken.
Yeah, we're just entering.
What
These
the
are just records, we're just doing it now.
So is it a secret who's gonna be questioning your next witness?
There we
'Cause I'm
go.
gonna find out in like 3 minutes. Who was doing it?
The records don't relate, but if we call the witness, it will be me. I'm assuming you're talking about that.
Who is your next witness and when are they being called and which attorney is going to question them? Let me be clear if I wasn't before. Because if these don't have anything to do with your next witness, then why are we having the jury wait outside right now?
Just because we were trying to move everything in because in terms of timing, we do it now.
In terms of timing, it would be much better to do it during the lunch break when the jury needs longer than you all. So we'll go ahead and pass on this. Let's bring the jury in, please.
Your Honor,
Yes?
at this time, the defense rests.
Other than putting in our records.
Watch her face, y'all.
We're not playing chess. I mean,
Hold on. Hold on.
will you please take the jury back in?
At this time, the defense
Watch her face,
rests.
y'all.
Other than putting in our records.
We're not playing chess. I mean, will you please take the jury back in? Thank you. All right, go ahead and bring your records.
2B, Nicholas Cruz Henderson, episode 1 record.
Let me just stop. State, are you gonna have anything ready for today?
No.
We're
accepting,
there was 80 witnesses.
we're waiting for 40 more witnesses.
You can't
I
see
just
me,
want to say,
Sam.
this is the most uncalled for, unprofessional way to try a case. You all knew about this, and even if you didn't make your decision till this morning, to have 22 people plus all of this staff and every attorney march into court, be waiting as if it's some kind of game. Now I have to send them home. The state's not ready. They're not gonna have a witness ready. We have another day wasted. I honestly, I have never experienced a level of unprofessionalism in my career. It's unbelievable.
So Judge, if we had any pretrial matters, you asked us to be here at 9:15. We were here at 9:15 to discuss pretrial matters. I have been practicing in this county for 22
You know what, I
years.
don't wanna hear it. I don't wanna
Well,
hear it.
Judge, you're insulting me on the record in front of my client, and I believe that I should be able to.
Okay,
defend
you
myself.
can do that later. You can make your record later, but you've been insulting me the entire trial. So blatantly, taking your headphones off, arguing with me, storming out, coming late intentionally if you don't like my rulings. So quite frankly,
Hey,
this has
Tony.
been long
Hey,
overdue.
Sky Flash.
So please be seated. You can receive the evidence. I will receive the evidence. And then you can, put whatever you want on the record at the end. Go ahead.
2B, which is Nicholas Cruz Henderson records, episode 1.
I'm sorry,
Episode 1, Henderson records for Nicholas Cruz.
2V.
I'm sorry, 2B isn't it?
Is there any objection to 2V as in Victor?
I'm sorry, what was that again, please? I can't read.
Oh, Henderson Behavioral Health, episode 1.
That's fine.
Without objection, 2V will be received as 93.
2W.
She's still
Henderson
mad.
records, episode 2.
Is there any objection to 2W?
No, you're.
2W without objection will be received as,
Y'all, her face was everything. All right, so that is an that is the judge in the Parkland shooter trial. So what had happened, Tony, is oh no, don't worry about it. Hey, Charlie. What had happened was the it's been the defense's turn this I don't even this last like 5011 of the 11 billion days, right? Okay. So they've been putting on their witness, right? They have a witness list of 80. That's 80 if you speak Espanol, okay? Witnesses. But they've only put on like, I don't know, 20, 25, somewhere in that neighborhood. And then as you see, she's getting ready to bring the jury in, right? And here comes the defense talking about, we'd like to rest our case, which she's not wrong. That is completely unprofessional. Because if the right one side rests and then it's the other side's turn. So this would be at this point now, if the defense is resting, this would their case in chief, then this would be the state's rebuttal, right? And so it was, I can't tell if he does or he doesn't, Aussie Girl Jen, to be quite honest with you. I've popped in and out of that of it, just, hey, Amelia Sparkles, just here and there. And they showed some writing that he had something that he had written where he does ask for the death penalty. So um I'm not exactly sure at really honestly what he wants, but he's fighting it, so I'm assuming that he doesn't want, I don't know. It's all a mess. And but yeah, it is what it is at this point. It's just that I love a good church read, which is, where you read somebody for filth, but you don't use any profanity or anything like that. It's very, it's very eloquent. And she did it, just her face alone when the defense attorney stood up and said, at this time, Your Honor, the defense rests. So, yeah, that was a mess. So I wanted to show you guys that. And then I wanted to talk to you just real briefly because we don't have a whole lot of testimony to get into today. We're gonna watch it. Um, Obviously, what we can watch, we're gonna watch because I listened and time stamped. She said, "You want me to do it again?" Okay, this is for Tony. At this time, Your Honor, the state or the defense arrests. That's how she went. Just like that. So, I wanted to talk to you guys real briefly about something because you want to watch the judge again? All right, hold on. I'll put it back on hold on just a sec. All right. It was so good. All right. So, while we were waiting around this morning, I remembered, because we were talking about it in the chat, that the documentary about Lori Vallow premiered on Netflix. So I went and watched it this afternoon. And y'all, first of all, I'm going to tell y'all this. I fully intend to discuss that documentary, and I had reached out a while back, like a week or two ago. Who knows in YouTube time? It might have even been 3 weeks ago. I don't even know. But anyway, Alex Erickson and I talked about covering the Vallow Daybell trial together. And so I was thinking that with the way that this trial is going, I'm almost thinking that the witnesses are cahooting, and perhaps one of the reasons they are opting out of being videoed is because they don't want to bring this fool any more attention. They don't want him to have notoriety. And I think that they pretty much figure that the only that people are interested in hearing testify are going to be Angela Wagner and Jake Wagner. They couldn't be further from the truth. I think most of us, I'm sure there are those people, right? But I do also think that the I'm interested in hearing all of the witnesses, but I think that I'm kind of sensing to me, let me tell you why I feel this way. So the reason I feel that the way I feel about it is because of the sheriff. Now, a sheriff is an elected official, okay? So this isn't a situation where, um, they work their way up. I'm not going to say she didn't work her way up the ranks, but that's not how being a sheriff works. You're elected to it, right? But you do usually have law enforcement background. Yeah. Kez chick. But yeah, so bottom line is the fact that she elected not to have her, no, she didn't want to be recorded, right? No, not only visually, she even said no to the audio, which, if you think about it, is highly irregular. She ran for office. So just let that sink in, right? That means that she had to make public speeches, probably ran maybe a one or two ads, right? I mean, you're visible when you are a sheriff or running for sheriff, when you're running for any office. But bottom line is she ran for sheriff, she was elected, she won, and she opted out. So I'm kind of wondering if this isn't sort of a, because there's nothing, I don't think there's anything prohibiting the witnesses from talking prior to the trial. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm very, very curious if that is what's happening here. If they're trying purposely by opting out of being filmed, making it where people will lose interest in watching this trial because they don't want to give this guy any more. Hey, Elizabeth Ferguson, good to see you. Welcome back. They don't want to give this guy any more attention. I don't know. It's just weird. I've never seen anything like this before, and I'm a little bit flabbergasted by it. But let's take a look just one last time before we get into the before we get into the County murder. I can't even talk. And let's hear this judge. All right, are y'all ready? Here we go.
Why are you standing there?
To help me.
Oh, okay, who's questioning this witness? Hello, which witness? Your next witness.
These don't have anything to do with it.
Yeah, we're just entering them.
These are just records, we're just doing it now.
So is it a secret who's gonna be questioning your next witness? Because I'm gonna find out in like 3 minutes. Who was doing it?
If the records don't relate, but if we call the witness, it will be me. I'm assuming you're talking about that.
Who is your next witness and when are they being called and which attorney is going to question them? Let me be clear if I wasn't before. Because if these don't have anything to do with your next witness, then why are we having the jury wait outside right now?
Just because we were trying to move everything in because in terms of timing, we do it now.
In terms of timing, it would be much better to do it during the lunch break when the jury needs longer than you all. So we'll go ahead and pass on this. Let's bring the jury in, please.
Your Honor,
Yes?
at this time, the defense rests.
Your
Other than
Honor,
Putting in our records.
at this time the defense rests. Boom. Look at her.
We're not playing chess. I mean, will you please take the jury back in? Thank you. All right, go ahead and put in your records.
Go ahead and put in your records. No, wait a minute. I'm about to read you for Phil. Don't be putting in your records. Just a minute.
Let me just stop. State, are you gonna have anything ready for today?
No. We're expecting,
There was 80 witnesses.
we're waiting for 40 more witnesses.
I just want to say, this is the most uncalled for, unprofessional way to try a case. You all knew about this, and even if you didn't make your decision till this morning, to have 22 people plus all of this staff and every attorney march into court, be waiting as if it's some kind of game. Now I have to send them home. The state's not ready. They're not gonna have a witness ready. We have another day wasted. I honestly, I have never experienced a level of unprofessionalism in my career. It's unbelievable.
That's
So,
right,
Judge,
Your Honor.
you
It is
if we had any pretrial
unbelievable.
matters, you asked us to be here at 9:15. We were here at 9:15 to discuss pretrial matters. I have been practicing in this county for 22
You know what, I
years.
don't wanna hear it, I don't wanna hear
Well,
it.
She
Judge,
doesn't give a
you're
rat's
insulting me
fat
on record. My
kneecap if
client,
you've
I
been
believe that
practicing
you-
in that
Okay,
county
you
for
can do that
20
later,
days,
you can make
20
your
minutes,
record later,
20
but you've
months,
been
or 20
insulting me the
years.
entire trial.
Ma'am,
So
you've been
blatantly
yanking
taking
her
your
chain this
headphones
whole
off,
time.
arguing
She's
with
had
me,
enough.
storming out.
That's right. You tell her. All right. Now, some more dramas. All right. Give me just one momentito. Oh, hold on. See, the lack of faith that Law and Crime Network has in the Pike County Massacre trial should tell you everything. They don't even have its own playlist for it. You heard. Doesn't even have its own playlist. Hold on, I'm trying to find it. I should have had it pulled up, but sometimes if I have the if I have it pulled up, if I have YouTube pulled up when I have StreamYard pulled up, it causes a whole thing. Hold on. Crap. Where is it at? I wonder if they took it down. Sorry, you guys. Ah, here it is. Hold on. All right, let me share my screen. Now you have to watch this because this goes to the trial from that we are interested in. All right. All right, ready? Here we go.
Before we actually talk about this cross-examination, Oscar Michelin, let me just tell you one thing that's happened in that court. But for all of our viewers to pay attention, and if here's where you want to get on social media, this is the place to get on right now. The elected sheriff, the elected public official, has opted out, Tracy Evans, of being shown on camera, along with a bunch of other law enforcement people that have testified, a number of law enforcement people that testified, and the judges said even the killers will be able to opt out. But here, you're elected. You give press conferences. You want transparency in that courtroom. People are interested in the community. People are interested around the United States and around the world in this case, and you opt out. I would suggest you're doing a dereliction to your own duties here. But that's my own opinion, not an opinion of the Law and Crime Network. But Tracy Evans, come on the air. Talk to us about why you made that decision after you testify, and maybe we can have a discussion. Oscar Michelin, your thoughts?
Well, I mean, certainly the law should not apply to law enforcement. In other words, if you're taking that oath and you're taking the responsibility of being a public law enforcement, never mind an elected official.
Right. Okay. So yes, he is. Yes, the sheriff at the time was Charlie. Yes, his name was Charles Reeder, and he's in big, huge trouble. And yes, but the fact remains that the person that they ended up calling, who is now the current sheriff to testify, opted out. And people, let me just listen. This is the way that Ohio does stuff, okay? And it I don't want to be this person, but this is just the truth of the matter, okay? This judge in Ohio, I don't care if every single person in the Law and Crime chat today wrote a physical letter to the judge about the situation. Let me just tell you what the judge is going to say. I don't give a rat's fat kneecap. First of all, the judge doesn't answer to anybody who isn't his constituents. Okay. So let's say yours truly wrote him a letter. No matter how well this letter was written, no matter how convincing this letter was, no matter the excellent arguments I made, he's not going to care. I don't hire him, and therefore I have no, I can't fire him either. I didn't vote for him, I didn't elect him, so he doesn't really care what I think. What I would suggest is, if you are if you live in Ohio, and that is where, whatever county, I don't know if they're holding, they're not holding it in Pike County, but whatever county it is that they're holding this trial in, if you don't like the fact that not just everyday people like me and you, witnesses, can opt out of being videoed or audio played, then use the only power you have to change that is when it comes time to vote. So at this point, bellyache, it's like, it's frustrating to me, and I know it's frustrating to you guys, because we really wanted to watch this trial. It's been a long time coming. Um, you should support with Stefa. You know, the thing is that we as citizens are supposed to, it's part of our system in the United States that the citizens, it's a checks and balance system. So we're supposed to be allowed to attend court proceedings. Okay. Criminal court proceedings. They're open to the public. Okay. But that's the law, right? They're not talking. Is it in Pike County? Because I'm thought that maybe it's where they pulled the jury pool from, is not Pike County. Thank you, Elizabeth. So there you go. If you are a resident of Pike County and you are dissatisfied with what is taking place in this trial because of the opt-out law, then the only place that you can change that is in the voting booth. But anyway, well, I forgot what I was going to say, where I was even going with that before I said all of that. I'm sure I had a great soapbox epic speech going there, but now I've totally lost the plot. Oh, okay. About the attending, right. So that's part of our rights. And it's to be there physically in person. It doesn't cover the live trial feeds, doesn't cover media, where the whole entire trial is streamed. And we do have that right, but I believe the law is pretty clear, unless they've updated it, that we have the right to see the court proceedings, which means we have the right to be there in person if we choose. Now, this is my other thing. I'm not talking about the family witnesses. They are a separate entity, in my opinion. They get a pass. Well, if they want to be filmed, great. If they don't, that's great too. No judgment there. I'm talking about law enforcement officials. Because the fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, when this trial reaches its conclusion, the transcripts are going to be available to the public. Anybody can get them. Okay. I mean, you might have to pay for them, and you probably will have to pay for them, but anybody can get them. So what was said during these court proceedings by the people who have, not the family, law enforcement officials, when they have opted out from being filmed, it's all going to be in the official court record. So it's not going to be a secret. So I don't even understand what the effing point is on their end. The family, I agree. I mean, but Vincent's, the thing is yes, it should be that. But the thing is that the court has to abide by the law as it's written today. And so now that we have advanced in our society and we have technology, I agree that the media petitioned the court in order to be able to stream this trial. Okay. And they were granted, because not every trial gets streamed like this, right? There's a ton of trials going on all over the country right now, every single day that we are not watching, and we have no knowledge of what's going on in there. Um, I don't. I have never heard of transcripts being sealed. I have heard of after the fact evidence being sealed, like autopsy photos, crime scene photos, sent those kinds of things. But the actual court transcripts, that I have not heard of being sealed. So I mean, but I'm not an attorney and I don't know every single law or all the laws. So I suppose I don't even know if it's possible, to be quite honest with you. So the court records will net transcript that part of the record. Let me just Google out real quick because I've never heard of transcripts being sealed. Now, um, let me look. Because see, think about the Watts case. All right, hold on. Sealing of records, I know what it means. Then, huh, I guess you can. It says you can seal a criminal record, but I didn't look. I didn't ask about records. I asked about a transcript. The records can be, but I don't know that. Hmm. Guess we'll find out. But not from Google. And not right now, because I don't want to look. Well, you know what? Now that you're saying this, support with Steffa. In this case, it is possible, and I totally forgot about this. Billy Wagner is next to be tried. And it could be argued that to maintain and preserve his right to a fair trial, that they would seal the transcripts from George Wagner's trial so that the public would not be able to have access to them. And it's not really so much about the public reading them, but it's more about the public publishing them online, which may taint the potential jury pool, because that might be a problem. Because now I'm thinking about it, because there was a case here in Florida several years back, the Derek and Alex King trials. And there were actually 3 trials. Derek and Alex were tried together, and then Ricky Chavez was tried separately, and he was tried first. And the what they ended up doing was they sealed the verdict in his case until after the boys' trial had concluded. All 3 verdicts were read at the same time. So there are cases. So this might be a case for that. But let's say that's what ends up happening. At some point, they will become unsealed. At some point, the public will have access to those transcripts. And so what I don't understand is why grant the media permission to film. And see, this is what I'm thinking. That's why I sort of wonder if the witnesses, when they found this out, I don't think that they, Yeah, you do. You're right, Vincent's missing ear. But I I mean, I don't know what else to say. I'm extremely frustrated by this. I wanted to watch this trial from, first of all, a true crime aspect. I remember this case. I didn't follow it as closely as some of you, some others in here have, but I did follow it. And this case has a very unique legal element to it in that Angela and Jake are going to testify, but more importantly, Jake has to testify to the state's satisfaction in order to get the death penalty removed from George's, and I think Billy's too. Yes. So that is a very unique legal aspect. That's not something that happens. That's not a commonplace deal, right? I can't think of. I mean, I can think of a ton of cases where um, one defendant has, in the same crime has taken a plea deal and turned state's evidence and testifies against the other. That's common, but this is different because it's not only a deal for Jake, it's a deal for George and Billy Wagner at the same time. You know what I mean? So that's a different, interesting twist. And I also, am curious. This isn't like entertainment to me. You know what I mean? I find this kind of stuff, and I know you guys too do too. And I think that, um, I think this case drew a lot of attention, and I think that the town is probably like done with the media, and you know, they just want to get back to living life and putting the pieces back together, and I completely and totally get that. But I wish that if I wish that the judge would have just said, you know what, you can't film it, and left it at that. You know what I mean? Okay. So now back to what we're supposed to be doing now that I'm no longer on my soapbox. So let's see. Hang on. Oh, I lied. Oh, too much, too much, too much, too much, too much, too much. All right. Okay. So now we're going to get to the testimony that we do get to see today. All right. Let me just go back a few seconds to where they call him to the stand. All right. Are we ready? You know what? Support with Steffa. When I get off of here, I'm going to look into this as well because I am extremely interested in that. I think that it is wrong. It shouldn't be permanently sealed. Wow. Okay. I don't, I, it makes you wonder if there was other things going on at the time of the crimes, at the time the crimes were committed, meaning, they, you have the crime that happened. Okay. But then in the, uh, law enforcement side of it, there were other things going on at the same time, if you take my meaning, and that maybe it's an embarrassment. I don't know. I've never seen anything like this before in my life. And I've been in Florida for 5 years, you guys. So I've seen some things. All right, here we go.
State may call its next witness.
We now call Timothy Dickerson, who's current director of the Pike Emergency Management Agency.
And don't ever be sorry. You're not sorry. Don't be sorry. You brought up excellent points and things that I didn't think of, and I appreciate that. And yes, you're exactly right. Vincent's missing
I
ear,
believe Director
100%.
Dickerson has opted to be filmed and photographed and broadcast.
Hey,
I
Max.
believe that's correct.
Good to see you.
And we'll let everybody know we will be using some of the same pictures as well.
We're going to speed him up just a scotch. Closed captions aren't available. Oh, because it's so, I don't know why I do this. I wish that Law and Crime Network would, which I'm not looking a gift horse in the mouth. I appreciate you letting me use your footage for educational commentary purposes. Law and Crime, shout out to Law and Crime, go sub. But I wish that since this trial is going this
You
way,
swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth.
I wish
and
they'd
nothing but
break
the
it
truth,
up.
as you shall answer unto God.
Yes.
You may be seated.
Sir, would you state your name and employment for the record?
Yes, my name is Timothy Dickerson. I work for Pike County Emergency Management.
And what's your specific job title with the Pike County Emergency Management Agency?
I'm the director.
And for those individuals maybe not familiar with what emergency management does, again, can you just give us a brief overview of what that is?
Sure. We handle events for the county that maybe would overwhelm local resources. So if there's a large tornado, a windstorm, or anything that would overwhelm services, then typically they activate the emergency management agency, and I would help mitigate that response.
And prior to becoming the director of the Pike County Emergency Management Agency, were you in full-time law enforcement?
Yes,
And where would that have been?
I was employed with the Pike County Sheriff's Office.
What was your rank and your duties at the time, Mr. Dickerson?
I was a major at the time, and I was in charge of the road and administrative duties.
All right, I'll be right back, but
And
I'm
what
going to
type
be
of
in
training and
chat. So y'all
experience
behave.
Did you have at the time that enabled you to hold the position of major at the sheriff's
Don't make
office?
me put Molson Man in
I had
charge.
been at the sheriff's office since 2002, promoted to corporal in 06, sergeant in 09, and major in 2012. Had in-service training and plus the trainings that went on at the sheriff's office as well.
And I'm going to take you to April 22nd of 2016. What was your duty assignment at that time?
I was working day shift and I had administrative duties.
What were your administrative duties, just for the record, for maybe people not familiar with the sheriff's office?
Sure, I oversaw road deputies, so I would make sure when I showed up for work that they turned in their reports, and if anybody called off, to make sure that their shift was covered. And I also reviewed files and crimes that had occurred the night before.
And Director Dickerson, you indicated you're working a day shift at that time.
Yes.
And at any point that morning, were you dispatched, apprised, directed toward an incident that would have occurred at Union Hill Road?
Yes.
Would you tell us how you became aware of it?
Sure. I was in, my day was just starting. I was in my kitchen and I was listening to my radio traffic, and I heard a deputy marking from, at that time, the crime scene, that he had located a code 16, which is a deceased person.
And once you heard that, what did you do?
That we hear those types of calls. It's not unheard of. But what really caught my attention was that he had reiterated he said there was another code 16. So not knowing what was going on at that time, I went ahead and headed out to the scene.
Yeah, how long did it take you to get out there?
If I was to guess, I would say probably 30 minutes or so.
What route did you take? Obviously, you don't have to, because you're still a peace officer, you don't have to put your home address on the record, but what route did you take to get out there?
I would have took State Route 32 west to the top of Union Hill and turned left onto Union Hill.
And once you turned left on Union Hill, did you encounter any other officers or any other officers following you in a convoy or anything like that?
I don't recall any officers following me, but I was diverted from the original crime scene to what was later learned to be another crime scene by an officer.
How were you diverted there?
Stopped on my way to the other crime scene and told we had to go back to another one.
And who was it that stopped you and had you go back?
I believe it was Major Evans.
And would that be the same Major Evans, the sheriff now,
Yes.
for the record? Once you were diverted back to another residence, what did you specifically do?
Well, I exited my vehicle, went into the home. I then turned right, went into a room and found a deceased male. He was in the bed. Went from there out through the, I guess would be the living room, kitchen area, to another room where a deceased female was located, and then made a right, or would have been to this direction, the right direction, and found a third deceased female.
Can you recall if there were any other officers in there with you at that time, Director Dickerson?
I remember an officer being in the doorway as I turned right. There was a doorway on my left.
And couldn't recall their identity?
I do not remember who that was.
And obviously it's been 6.5 years ago at least.
Yes.
I mean, you found the 3 deceased individuals in there. Once you'd seen that, what did you do?
Well, one thing that happened was I noticed there was a baby in the bed in that bedroom. And what I recall was there was either I made a noise or there was a noise because the baby's arms came up. And I hollered for them to get a medic. And then the medic came in and he took the baby. And when we went back out to the ambulance.
And was anyone, when you came in to remove the baby, was anyone else with you that you can recall other than the EMT?
I don't remember anybody being with me.
And do you recall if any of the other officers there on the scene indicated a baby crying, if you can recall?
I don't recall.
If you would, I think you indicated it was a Daryl Hart that went in with you to remove the baby.
Yes, Daryl was the EMT.
And I'm going to start off, I'm going to backtrack just a little bit, Director Dickerson. You indicated you found a male subject that deceased in one of the bedrooms.
Yes.
Would you describe him for me?
Yeah, as I recall, he was laying on his side, face down, pointed that way, and he had been shot in the back of the head.
And just for the record, Director Dickerson, have you encountered gunshot wounds during your training experience over the years?
Yes,
Okay. Were you able to identify these as gunshot wounds?
yes.
And once you encountered, at any point, were you able to learn the identity of the male subject that you'd found deceased there?
Yes, later I was advised that it was Christopher Jr.
And you indicated you'd found a second female subject in another bedroom. Would you tell us how you found her and what happened?
As I entered the room, she was also in bed, and that would have been Dana.
If you can recall, were there any pillows, comforters, blankets, sheets, anything over her?
I believe a blanket.
Did you yourself remove any of the blankets, look under them, anything like that?
I did not.
Okay. Did anyone else in your presence do that, or do you know if anyone did?
Someone prior to me would have, because her face was uncovered.
And you indicated that, again, you found the baby in the back bedroom, and there was a young female subject deceased at that time or two.
Yes.
And did you ever learn her identity?
Yes, it was Hannah May.
And would you describe any injuries that you would have seen on her at the time?
Yeah, she appeared to have been shot as well in the front.
What condition was the little baby in?
The baby was laying next to Hannah, right up against her stomach area and her breast.
Okay, not that you sound really morbid or anything like that. Was there any evidence that she may have been breastfeeding, anything like that?
Her breast was exposed and the baby was right there, so it could be.
And how could you give us an approximate age of the little baby, if you could, Director Dickerson?
I learned later that the baby was 3 days old. It was very, very tiny.
Yeah, what was the baby's condition?
From what I remember, I just remember the diaper having blood on it, but alive.
And you indicated EMT Daryl Hart had removed the baby for you. Tell us how that happened.
Well, I motioned for a medic to come in, and then Daryl Hart took the baby. He brought it up close to him, and then we both went out the house.
Excuse me. Right. So obviously I'm late for the trigger warning. However, I went ahead and put a trigger warning as in the description. So I apologize for this. I didn't watch his testimony, and so I probably should have, so I couldn't warn you guys. But this is terrible. First of all, um, let's just take a minute to just let this sink in what he found, okay, and how many ways this could have gone wrong, and the cold, calculating mindset of the person who did this to Hannah. She was feeding her baby. Is there anything more vulnerable than that? Honestly. And so determined to complete this task and do this disgusting deed that it didn't even matter. I can't highlight this cement shoes, but there was talk, and there is a short clip. I think that it's still up on Lawn Crime. If you guys want to, I will play it. It comes from the opening statements that Jake readjusted. That is correct. He is right. That is, yes, that was in the opening statements. I don't think that they have called any of the medical examiner or anything like that to the stand. So yeah. But yeah. Okay, here we go. Are we all ready? Because this is bad. Okay.
The same way we came in.
And can you recall which squad or company or corporation Daryl Hart would have worked for at the time?
I'm sorry, I don't.
Did you know him or work with him before then, if you can recall?
Yes.
I know,
And-
Sam, I'm sorry.
What was going through your mind at this time when you encountered the deceased and the baby in there?
Well, it was a traumatic scene, a large scene. And when I discovered that the baby was alive, I was very thankful for that.
Did you have a fear that the baby may not have been alive?
Yes.
And once Daryl Hart had removed the baby, do you know what happened with it?
The baby was placed in the ambulance, and I don't know where they went from there.
Did you encounter any other people at the scene at 3122?
Jake, cement
Officers.
shoes.
And
The
when I
ex-girlfriend.
first arrived, later learned it was, I believe, James Manley, I believe was his name.
Did you have any discussions with him, Director Dickerson?
No,
Did you have any discussions with any other civilians that day?
not that I recall.
It's disgusting.
I'm going to show you a.
And I understand why the town and the people that are the family want to see this done and them to be punished. Yeah. And I understand how, can you imagine how traumatic that would be as a first responder? I mean, these people are trained to see stuff, but there's some stuff, you know what I'm saying? You just can't unsee ever. Even as professionals, it shakes you.
It has a garage right there. Did you yourself search that garage? No. Let's just stay up here a second and have a go there. Diagram as well. This is Stacy exhibit number C 433, Mr. Dickerson. The general layout of that is familiar to you? Yes. Basically, tell us what we're looking at here.
This would be Dana's, the schematic for home. This is the room where.
I know support with Stefa. I can't,
Room where Dana is located, and this is the room.
like,
When you went into
when
the
law
residence,
enforcement is shook,
assume you turned right first.
that's,
Yes. If you can recall, can you show us?
it's unnerving, it's unsettling, it's disconcerting because they're, I mean, they're humans, obviously, but they see this all the time. You know what I'm saying? So you know it's bad when law enforcement is shook. All right, let me see if I can find this
How long would you say you've been
other
inside that residence?
video for you guys. Your girl out here
Once
multitasking
you
for y'all.
exited the residence with a little baby, what's the next thing you did?
I was outside and was later met on the scene by the sheriff.
Okay. Hey, would that have been Charlie Reeder?
Yes.
Hey, what did you do when the sheriff arrived on the scene?
I got into his vehicle and began briefing him on what I knew at that time.
And what happened after that?
The day, it just evolved. I don't remember specific things throughout the day. I do remember that the sheriff had mentioned James. He needed to be interviewed. So someone would have been told to interview James.
Would you have handled that, or would you have directed another investigator or deputy to do that?
Right, that would have been someone else who done that.
At any time, was there ever a discussion or a meeting to determine whether or not to call BCI in?
Yes.
Were you involved in that?
That is one of those things that was an automatic. The sheriff would have called dispatch to notify BCI immediately.
All right, I found
I
it.
would say BCI was called in, were they not?
Yes.
And what was the purpose of calling BCI in on this case?
Just the severity and the size of the crime.
Right, Tony? It's
We,
messed up. This
knew
whole
that we
thing,
were going to
messed.
need assistance.
Like it's an absolute foobar. Just absolute. I
Was there a
can't.
decision made to turn the whole investigation over to BCI?
There was.
Were you involved in that?
I may have been involved in the discussion, but ultimately the sheriff decided to turn the investigation over to BCI.
Hey, were you involved in that investigation?
I was later assigned to BCI to help them while they were in the county. Yes.
Were there any other officers assigned as well?
Yes.
And who would they have been?
Major Al Lewis.
So your purpose then was to assist BCI because you knew the area, Major Lewis knew the area, you knew people who lived around here, where say an agent who might be from 2 counties away may not know people. Would that be correct?
That's correct.
Did you ever go on that day into any of the other scenes other than one at 3122 Union Hill Road?
No.
And how long were you in on Union Hill Road that day dealing with all 3 scenes?
I can't give you an exact time how long I was there, but I was there for a while, and the sheriff, we would have been in the same spot for a while.
And were you ever involved that day in obtaining any search warrants?
I was not.
Or would that have been assigned to someone else?
That would have been assigned to someone else.
And can you recall how long you were out there that day, evening or into the night, anything
Well, I
like
know as the day progressed, we moved from there to a church across 32, where some gatherers, where people were gathering.
that? Thanks, you. This will sound like a strange question that may come into play later. What type of footwear were you wearing that day?
I would have been wearing what the department had issued me.
Was it any particular brand or type of boot, if you can recall, sir?
I don't recall the brand name, black style.
I think if they indicated Vibram boots, would that ring a bell?
Yeah, I believe that's what I told BCI, now that you reminded me.
And did you, Sheriff Reeder, Major Evans, or anyone else solicit help from any other law enforcement agencies around Ohio?
There were numerous agencies and officers that responded that day. And I recall officers as, calling from as far away as Ottawa County in Northern Ohio, but there were a lot of officers and agencies and sheriffs that reached out to offer help.
And did they in fact offer help and send officers to assist you at the time?
Yes.
There are a lot of videos on YouTube that are available of
I'm gonna have you look at some
the
pictures,
Attorney
Director
General
Dickerson. Again, I'll
doing
warn
the
everybody in
pressers
advance
and
that some of
keeping the
these will be
public updated. You
prohibited.
know, they're not like videos of, they're like the news videos. You know what I'm saying? They're
Draw your
news
attention
sources.
to State's Exhibit C4. It'll
I
pop
was
up on your
impressed with
monitor
him as
there.
well.
And the digital
Report with
image is
Sheffa.
7642, and it's a view of the outside of 3122. Just for the record, will you tell us what that is, sir?
Yes, that is the outside of Dana's residence.
We're going to move on to C52 in digital file 7690. And tell us what that is, please.
It's a different view from same residence.
And are you able to tell us if it's visible on there or visible, how you got into the residence?
The stairwell there on the porch.
Thank you indicate that. Where did you park when you pulled up to this scene?
I parked in the roadway.
Okay. Did you take the sidewalk, the driveway, or did you just walk straight through the yard?
As I recall, I went through the yard.
I'm going to pull up C94, digital number 7733, Mr. Wilson.
Well, Tony, if
Just
the
tell us what that is.
prosecution's theory is
That would be
correct,
front door to Dana's residence.
hang on, I'm turning this down just a little bit. If the prosecution's theory is correct, and this was
Actually, the
truly
next
about this little girl,
picture is pretty much
the
all the rest of
custody
the
of this
pictures
little
I'm
girl,
going to have.
they
are
did,
going to be
they,
of
what
deceased
they did, what they did,
just
so
so
there would be
everybody knows.
nobody left in that family
Move
to
we clear?
take custody
Is
of
it
her.
okay?
They didn't want her being
Mr.
raised
Dickerson, I want to bring your attention
in that
to
family.
State's Exhibit C135, digital number 7774. Tell us what we're looking at, please.
But to be quite
that would be
honest with
Christopher
you,
Jr.
I am having an extremely hard time fathoming that
I'm gonna
this
move on to
that
Exhibit
the
C137,
custody
digital number 7776.
was the only reason.
Would you identify that, please?
Yeah, Christopher Jr., different photo.
I mean,
And
obviously,
Exhibit C145,
Well,
digital number
it doesn't even
774.
matter what their reason was. There's nothing that would ever
And can you describe what we're looking at?
justify this,
That is the back of Christopher Jr.'s head.
ever.
Hey, Mr. Dickerson, you'd indicated you were familiar with the gunshot wounds through your training and experience.
Yes.
And can you identify any on Chris Reagan Jr. there?
The wounds are consistent with gunshot wounds in my prior experiences.
And just for the record, do you still hold any police commissions anywhere or any other appointments at any law enforcement agencies?
Right, I'm still commissioned at the Pike County Sheriff's Office as a special deputy.
We'll move on to State's Exhibit C207. And that'll be digital file number 7846.
I think, Tony, I think that they really thought that they had taken every conceivable
Tell us what we're looking at
measure
here, Mr. Dickerson.
That would
to
be Dana.
avoid detection. I really do. I think they thought they were going to get away with this.
And moving on to State's Exhibit C214.
And it was all, you're exactly right. I can't remember. I saw a comment on
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Wilson,
somewhere
number 785.
where they were talking about the fact that this was done for the
us what we're
custody of
looking at
this
here,
little
please.
girl,
That
and
was
now
Dana, different photo.
Okay.
none of them have custody of
Does that
themselves.
depict any
Even
gunshot
they have to
wounds
ask
that you can
permission to go to the bathroom.
There appeared to be a gunshot wound to the face. Yes.
Yes, that's also accurate. Support with Steffa, that is true. Yes.
Going to move
Mhm.
on to,
But my thing
last
is that
bit
I
here.
don't.
I want to
I-
call up State's Exhibit C237, digital number 7876.
I think that was part of it. Yes, I think that
And would you
the
tell us what,
situation with
this picture
Sophia
depicts, Mr.
was
Dickerson?
part of it.
This is Hannah in her bedroom.
I
We'll
don't
move
know.
on
Whoever
to
killed Michael,
C241,
Christopher, and
digital number
Steve
7880.
has been getting away with it for almost 30 years now.
Would you identify this for us, please?
All right, it's Hannah in her bedroom, different photo.
And does it depict the baby?
But
the baby in there
but
at the time?
all crime really is
No.
those kinds of crimes. Yes.
Gonna move on to State's Exhibit C 247.
No, our psyches don't bend that
Digital
way.
number
There's
7887.
that's what fascinates me so much about true
Tell
crime
us what we're looking
is
at here.
that
That's,
I
Hannah
don't
in her bed, a
understand
different photo.
the thinking
You know, where would the little baby have been?
The baby was just below the
That-
right breast and against the stomach area.
the I don't understand what clicks in somebody's mind where they go from a thought to an
Mr.
action.
Dickerson, Mr. Wilson's gonna blow that picture up for us.
I mean, like I think about doing lots of things all day long. Like I think about
You
every
already
time
have
I
a
walk into
specific,
the living room, man, I should really get on that treadmill.
reason
I think
for
about
this.
that, sure do, but I don't do it.
What are
Not
we
like
looking
I
at right
should
there, Mr.
anyway.
Dickerson?
Well, say what's your reason?
Yeah, look, you intend to have him, take a
But
look
that's
at
what
the pacifier.
fascinates me about true crime is
All right, I'll
part
remove
one
that
of the
picture.
things
Mr. Dickerson, if you
is
would,
the
what are we
thinking
looking at right there?
This
in
is a
these
picture of
people's
Hannah in her bed,
brains.
her stomach here and a baby pacifier there.
And bless his heart, he doesn't even want to hardly even look at those pictures. I can't imagine.
We're gonna move on to State's Exhibit C 253. That'll be digital file number 7893. Just tell us what we're looking at there, Mr. Dickerson.
It's Hannah in her bed, different photo.
Take that down. And for purposes of venue, what county and
gonna-
state is 3122 Union Hill Road in?
It's in Pike County, Ohio.
About 4077 Union Hill Road,
I'm just
Pike County, Ohio.
4199 Union Hill Road.
Pike County, Ohio.
Your Honor, I have no further questions for Director Dickerson at this time.
Defense may cross-examine.
all right. Let's hear this cross exam, and then I'll play that clip. It's a short clip. It's only like a minute and a half or something like that.
Mr. Dickerson, can you tell me what your current occupation is?
Yes, sir. I'm the Director of Emergency Management for Pike County, Ohio.
Did he not
All right.
just
And can you tell me again
say that
briefly,
earlier?
What do you do? What's the responsibility of that office?
Well, I oversee emergency management for Pike County. If there's a disaster or anything that would overwhelm the county resources like fire department, EMS, law enforcement, then they would funnel a request through my agency and I would be the liaison to the state of Ohio to fill that request.
And I believe you told us that your position is director, is that right?
Yes,
I would imagine as the director of the Pike County Emergency Management System, it's important for you to know the boundaries of Pike County, is that right?
yes,
All right. Now, you indicated that you're familiar with where 3122 Union Hill Road is at, right?
They're really going to get
Yes.
into this.
And who lived there?
Dana?
Sweet
Okay,
Jesus.
Dana. And you would agree with me that Pike County actually adjoins Scioto County, right?
Yes,
And are you aware that the county line between Scioto and Pike goes right down the middle of Union Hill Road?
yes,
All right. And actually 3122 Union Hill Road is in Scioto County. You would agree with that?
no,
So you just agreed with me that the county line goes down the middle of Union Hill Road, right?
I am not disagreeing that it goes down through there. What I know from my experience is that the residence lies in Pike County.
Tell me, what experience is that you base that on?
The conversation that was had between the sheriff of Adams County and the sheriff of Pike County on the day of the homicides.
So I asked you what your position is because I'm relying upon your experience as the director of the Pike County Emergency Management System. Do you know from that position where the boundary lines are?
I know from my position that I have been told in the past that the boundary is in Pike County.
And have you independently looked into that to verify that for yourself?
I have not had any occasion to have to verify that.
Any redirect?
Just briefly, again, Director Dickerson, you indicated that you're privy to a conversation between Sheriff Kimmy Rogers and Sheriff Charlie Reeder as far as the location of 3122.
Yes,
And what was decided during the conversation between two sheriffs, yourself, and other officers?
that the crime scene was in Pike County.
No further questions.
Any further across?
Sir, tell me, are you aware if 3122 is logged in the public records for Pike County as a Pike County resident?
What I'm aware of is the conversation that we had that day.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you again, I'm going to talk about government records for Pike County. Are you aware whether it's in the Pike County government records?
He said the only way he's aware of it is for conversation.
Well, I'm gonna leave. Do you need to hear the question?
Yes,
again?
please.
Are you aware from Pike County government records whether 3122 Union Hill Road is in Pike County?
I'm aware of what I knew at the time, that Pike
So I'm
deed
gonna take that
residents.
as a no. Right?
Objection, Your Honor, that's badgering.
Well, I don't
Seeking
think he gave a direct response to the question asked.
So it's just based on a conversation that you overheard, if I understood that correctly?
Well, there were conversations in that day and follow-up conversations that it was decided that, based on conversation, that it was in Pike County.
Thank you. No further questions.
Any further questions from the
We have
staff?
no further questions for Director Dickerson, Your Honor.
All right, you may step down. Does the state have another witness to call right now, or do you wish to have a break before?
We probably need to take a break, Your Honor. We need to make a check and make sure after the witness is here.
So we'll take a 15-minute break.
Okay, well, see you back in like a minute and a half when I scroll. All right, hold on. I have to stop sharing this tab. All right. And then I have to. Okay. So evidently, yeah, I'm not exactly, I don't understand why they bothered to really bring this up, other than I suppose the argument could be made that how professional and a great and what kind of a job could they have actually done if they don't even know whether that residence was in their jurisdiction or not. Okay. So now this is going to come from the opening statements. This is the state describing the specific. Yeah, they are trying to make fetch happen. Okay. Brace yourselves. It's 2 minutes and 16 seconds. This is the part where where the state talks about what you're going to learn from Jake. Okay. We're probably not going to learn it because his ass is probably going to opt out. But regardless, here we go. Are y'all ready? This could be triggering. So exercise viewer discretion. All right, I'm playing it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
He will tell you that he went into a hallway, and again, we will show you this with crime scene photos, etc. But he basically positioned himself so that he could see both Hannah and Dana. He could tell that Dana was on her phone because it was kind of lighting up her face. He will tell you that she made a noise, that he said he kind of froze initially, but she made a noise which jolted her out of it. And Kylie started crying. And he says he took 2 quick steps into Dana's room and shot her twice, and then immediately rushed back to where Hannah was. And he will tell you that Hannah obviously heard him because she was laying with her left side to the doorway and turned to look. She had been nursing Kylie and saw him. He doesn't believe she recognized him, but she saw him and he shot her. He will tell you that after he shot her, he rearranged her body on the bed so that Kylie could nurse if she wanted to. And he will say that he went back into Dana's room and shot her more times because she was making noises. And then he will tell you that he went out of the door that led from Dana's room into the kitchen. And when he opened the door, his dad was standing there with the 40 drawn, probably in a just in case, situation. And George was still behind his father, guarding little Chris's room. He will tell you that Jake claims that he then went to little Chris's room and also shot little Chris, who had never woken up. He was asleep at the time he was killed.
So there you have it. And, I just had a thought. Remember how we couldn't quite figure out, why the the length of the opening statement and why it was so long. I wonder if the prosecutor had an inkling of just how many people were going to end up opting out of testifying for the where the public could see, us. And if that's why she went into such detail. Oops. See, every dadgum time. Oh my gosh, Jen. All right. Now, the next thing is another law enforcement official. I have a feeling that this person is going to kind of say it's going to be similar testimony. Um, I don't know if you guys want to hear it or not. I've been on here for not that long, but before I do any of that, I do want to read this link that Support with Steffa sent because I think it's interesting. Um, what are the criteria for sealing records permanently? So, give me just a sec. Okay, hold on. Pull it up real quick. Um, Hold on. All right. Beyond that, a party to a court case has the right to request that public access to information in the court record be restricted. The court may restrict the information at its discretion after considering 1, risk of injury to individuals, 2, individual privacy rights and interests, 3, proprietary business information, and 4, public safety. If you wish to challenge an order closing court records, you should get legal assistance to determine how best to proceed. Is that what you wanted me to read? Support with Steffa? Hold on. Let me read what she actually wrote me. She probably gave me directions that I just totally scrolled on. Ah, here we go. Yeah, that's what yeah. So if just going by this, I suppose the argument could be made for risk of injury to individuals or individual privacy rights. That might, 1 or 2 might fall under that category. I know, Corky. I know. Like, here we are saying, why'd she have to take 5 hours? Is she just going to tell us the whole court case? Well, hell yeah, she is, because all these people have decided to opt out. Well, according to, this is what I found interesting, Max 2002, according to George Wagner's the defense attorney, Billy, Angela, and Jake were like basically career criminals. They were just no good nicks. And they and again, George don't know, George don't show, George didn't go, and it's not his fault. He was born a Wagner. This is his defense. He doesn't think like them. He doesn't act like them. He doesn't do the things that they do. Blah, 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 blah. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I'm curious, though, if when it comes time to put on his case, if that's what I think support with stuff a risk to individuals. Like, because, but see, there are times I'm trying to remember how it was. Well, I'll say this. So the records on like Callahan's from the West Memphis 3 case, right? All of the records. It's not just about the, Damien, Jason, and Jesse. It's about the victims, it's about their families, other suspects, yada yada yada. Some information is redacted, but it was redacted by the people who scanned the images and then uploaded them. It wasn't redacted by the courts. And I'm wondering if, because you know how, like with the Chris Watts case, how they did the first release of information and it had a whole bunch of stuff in there, not a whole bunch, but it had stuff in there that like identifying information that should have been redacted that wasn't redacted. And then they, I don't know, Max, but anyway, I'm curious what the because I'm sure that there is going to be emotion, right? Because there is after every trial. So what'll end up happening is the judge and the attorneys will sit down and they will figure out what they will allow, what is in the public's interest, right? And what they'll allow through the freedom, not, it's not even really the Freedom of Information. I can't remember. Is it? Maybe it is. Yeah, through the Freedom of Information Act, right? That will be available to the public. Transcripts are a different thing. Transcripts are not free and you do have to pay for them usually. So anyway, because I could order the transcripts from the hearing in the West Memphis 3 case, the one from July. I need to contact the county clerk because I don't have a check. And I mean, I don't use checks. So I'll have to figure out another way to pay. That's not a check. I guess I'll have to go and get like a cashier's check or something. But anyway, I'm real curious how all of this is gonna end up, and I'm curious if all of George's witnesses are also, if he, but I'm mostly interested. I'm curious to see if Jake and Angela Wagner opt out. What do you guys think? Put a 1 in the chat if you think Jake will opt out of being filmed. Put a 2 in the chat if you think he won't. So 1 for yes, he'll opt out, and 2 for no, he won't. I think he will. Oh, speaking of Lori Vallow, which I got sidetracked, I think what I'm gonna do is we're gonna go back to the beginning of Vallow, and we're gonna break it all the way down, how all of this started. Okay, hey Gail, I got a mixture here. I got some 1s and I got some 2s. Mostly ones. I see a lot of ones that are that he will opt out. I don't think he will either. I'm with Corky's. Corky S. I think that Jake is going to want to be. I think he's going to want to be on camera. I don't think he's going to opt out either. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Oh, you guys think he will? Huh. Interesting. All right. All right. Now, what about Angela Wagner? Put a 1 in the chat if you think she will opt out, or a 2 in the chat if you think she won't. She's the one I'm on the fence about. But I'm going to go with the safe bet, and I think she will opt out. I don't think she'll want to be filmed. Yeah, I really am. Well, I will say this. Like I said, I did while I'm waiting for you guys to vote. Because I'm too lazy to put up a poll. I will say that I did watch all 3 episodes of The Sins of My Mother, of Our Mother. Okay. And I will say it's decently done. Yeah, she will. I think she will opt out. I don't think she'll agree to be filmed, but I think Jake will be like, fine, I will. Oh, support with Steffa. Good thought. Possibly. Can the state I don't know if that's legal though. Can the state compel you? Interesting. You know what else I'm curious about too? Is I don't know how Ohio works, but in most states, you cannot compel a wife to testify against a husband or a husband to testify against a wife. You cannot compel a spouse to testify against another spouse, right? Meaning you can't force them. So the way around that would be exactly what they're doing in Ohio, which would be a plea agreement that would include her testimony. Interesting. Interesting. We'll see. We shall see for show. I wonder how many people, because let me just give you guys a spoiler alert, and this is why I want to start in on the Vallow case, because I had read that the state's not expected to wrap their case up on like around October 5th is when they expect to rest. We are on September 14th? Oh, well, September 15th for all intents and purposes, right? Because today's the 14th. Yeah. So we're, for all intents and purposes, we're roughly at September 15th. So that's, I wonder how many more witnesses they have. I mean, because honestly, that doesn't mean that there's a ton of witnesses. It's just that they expect for they're presenting their case in chief. So they could have, like a few witnesses. They're going to be testifying for a lengthy period. You know what I mean? But I'm curious of how the rest of this case is going to go on the part of the state, just how many witnesses are going to opt out. And I'm curious what order they will plan to call Jake and Angela in to testify. Like, do you think that they are going to do it see, because like midway through, because remember with the oh, happy birthday to your daughter, Corky. Happy birthday. 18 is a milestone, because remember how with the Depp Heard trial, how we were all kind of shocked at how soon Johnny Depp took the stand. It like didn't seem like there was hardly any like a ton of testimony, and then boom, it was Johnny Depp. Um okay. This is an excellent point. But before I get to this point, where let me finish with that. So I wonder like how much into their case in chief the state is going to get before they put on Jake and Angela. And the other thing I'm curious about is, will they put them on back to back, right? Like, meaning, will Jake testify and then his mom, or will Angela testify and then Jake? Or will they space them out? I'm curious about that too. Okay, so one thing that I learned watching the documentary is that at when she was evaluated, when Lori Vallow was, I keep wanting to call her Value, but who God knows why. When Vallow was evaluated for competency to stand trial, you know, the in the United States, how they deem you competent to stand trial is this way. Can you understand the charges against you? Can you behave in court? And can you assist in your own defense? Okay. That's all competent to stand trial means. Okay. Well, the part that Lori was found incompetent on was the understanding her charges. And I honestly think, after watching that documentary, thinking about things, watching some stuff, some interviews that she had given, and I mean, like, not interviews, like she didn't sit down with like 2020, like Barbara Walters didn't interview her. I'm talking about when she was talking to the Popo, when she was talking to law enforcement, and then the phone calls between she and Colby. um I feel like, I think her not understanding her charges was an act, to be quite honest with you, because when she's talking to her son, he calls her and he's like, Mom, I don't blah blah blah, and she's all, well, what is it that you think I've done? I just, someday you're gonna understand. I mean, obviously she's keenly aware of the fact that she's being recorded. I mean, how they announce it when you place a call in jail. So it is what it is. But I feel like, quite frankly, I think she hoodwinked the evaluation a little bit. And I think that they would rather err on the side of caution with her. And so they wanted, because the things that are going to be talked about and presented in this trial are very difficult concepts for 98% of the population to understand, except for people like Melanie Gibb, um, and the like. So I think what the state was saying was like, look, we'll put her in competency camp, right, and then get her so we can have all the I's dotted and all the T's crossed, so that she can stand trial, and that they will know that this is a belief system versus a delusion. Do you know what I mean? Because it's hard to like, when you're hearing what they thought, what they believed, it's very difficult to not say or think, gosh, that sounds delusional, how could this possibly be? But there is a very big difference between, like, our definition, lay people's definition of delusional, and like the legal definition, and then again the clinical definition of delusions. And I think what they were really wanting to do is make sure that it was very, very clear that no, this is a belief system, and it's a messed up belief system, and and the general public is not going to be able to follow along with it, or even wrap their brains around it, or even understand how she um could think that way. But this wasn't anything um psychological, meaning she wasn't having a psychotic break or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Or suffering from some undiagnosed um mental health disorder, like schizophrenia or something like that, or paranoid schizophrenia. And one of the things that I knew but I had forgotten about. Good night, Vincent's. Hey, Vincent's, Saturday night, 9 p.m., West Memphis 3. We're going over the knots. Okay. Good night, Vincent. Thanks for being here. So, well, I'm going over the knots. You're more than welcome to come on panel if you want to. Just let me know. But anyway, one of the things that I knew but I had forgotten about is that body cam footage where Charles Vallow calls 911 because Lori has moved all of his things out, taken the truck from the airport. Remember all that brouhaha that she did? And he had gone and gotten essentially what amounts to, they're not technically commitment papers, but they were an order for her to be evaluated. And so when she went into when she took JJ to school, then he swiped her purse, and then she and Melanie went in to make that police report, and the cop is sitting there telling her, well, you should just go. And she did go, and she was evaluated, and they found that she was fine, right? She was lucid. So oh, support with Steffa. My heart goes out to everybody who suffers from a mental health issue, regardless of severity. Like I'm on the lower end of it. I have anxiety, and I used to take medication for it, but I don't anymore. I've learned other ways. And but I do remember when I first started having panic attacks, and I didn't know what they were, and it was scary. Okay. I This is what I think about that. Okay? The things that her behavior is not indicative of a person who is having a true psychotic break with delusions. Though Aussie girl Jen, she did things in a methodical way. When uh Tylee and JJ went quote unquote missing, she went to she told different people, different members of the family, different stories. That's not delusional thinking. She was very, very intentional and manipulative in her behavior. So she has, okay, and I don't want to say this to be offensive, okay? I just want you to hear me out. Okay? So if you are, and I'm not arguing the merits, I'm just using it as an example, okay? Christians, okay? They believe that a man was put on a cross, killed, put in a cave, and then rose from the dead. Okay. Hearing that said that way can be thought, it sounds delusional. Do you know what I'm saying? Impossible to happen, right? Her line of thinking that she had lived different lives, that her and Chad Daybell had lived different lives, and that people were possessed by demons and they were zombies and this, that, and the other. That to us sounds preposterous, right? But it was part of, and I kind of wanted to talk about this like a little bit, because but I want to be very careful how I do it, because what 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 Charles or Chad Daybell believed in was a real offshoot of Mormonism. Okay, like a real skewed tangent, but the basis, which is why like which is why like Zulema and Alex had to be married, because Mormons believe in, not only are you married in this on your earthly life, but you're also married in heaven, right after you die. You're sealed, is what they call it. So some of their beliefs were very they had their roots came from Mormonism, right? So I just I don't know, Aussie girl Jen, I just find it difficult. She's been a, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait to, I don't want to take a hard no stance, because my mind and opinion changes as new facts and evidence come in. But at this point in time, what I think about Lori is that I don't think she had any, I think she had personality disorders for sure. Or I don't want to say that. I believe that it's possible that she had personality disorders. I'm not 100% convinced that she suffered um, anything like mental health, like schizophrenia or, something like that. Correct. Yes. Corky. Yes. I just, there, and this is the thing, I'm not qualified to like diagnose anybody or evaluate anybody, but I am qualified to sit my ass on a jury. And I'm going to be hearing when this goes to trial, and hopefully we are able to be, this is able to be televised, or not you know what I'm saying, streamed, televised. You can tell I'm from the way old school court TV where they used to bust out commercials every so often. But anyway, I I but I am qualified to be a jury, on a jury. So are you guys. So what I'm thinking is, how would I hear this evidence as a juror? What would I think of this? So that's what I'm going to look at from it, cuz I cannot, there are just some things that she did that, well, I'll tell you right now, they negate an insanity defense for sure, just by the legal definition of insanity, right? Because once you do anything to um, cover up your crime or avoid being caught or avoid detection or suspicion or whatever, once you do anything, once you do any of that, then the insanity is like the insanity defense is out the window. So, see, that's what I think. I think that Chad thought that, you know, he was going to get this like devoted woman who was going to hang on his every word, and she did for the most part, but then there's that other twist to Lori, and it's just, I don't know. I'll be there, support with stuff. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll support your channel. Absolutely. My mom was bipolar, and she was undiagnosed bipolar for a very, very long time. I mean, I don't think my mom got diagnosed as bipolar, bless her heart, until she was in her 50s, you guys. And so my mom would have, like when we looking back, how she would have mania, and none of us really recognized it, including my mom, because she really thought, my mom worked full time. She was a histologist, and my sister and I are like 16 months apart. So that's a lot of work, to work a full time job and then to, yeah, because I don't think on their own they would have done this, but together they were the perfect storm. Exactly right. But like the mania, that extra energy and stuff, my mom always looked at as an asset because it gave her all of the energy to take care of us girls, and then, work a full-time job and be married and do all the things, right? And it wasn't until she got older, like it started in her 40s, and she was, at the same time going through like menopause, right? And that can affect your sleep. So it took a long time for her to get diagnosed as bipolar. And then it took an incredible, even longer for them to get her on the right combination of medication. And it was so difficult for my sister and I, because we took care of our mom, and we would have to take turns. She would stay with me for a while, then she'd go stay with my sister for a while, because the adjustment was difficult when they would adjust her medication. It was difficult on her, and it was difficult on us, in that we had to watch it be difficult for her. Do you know what I mean? And it was just hard. So if that, I will come and support any live that you do to bring awareness to that, to mental health, support with Steffa, because it is important. And let me get your link. Hang on a second. I'll get it for you. I've completely derailed this live. Started talking about everything but what we were watching. Hold on, I'll get it for you. My goodness. There it is right here. I'll put it in the chat. There we go. No, babe. No, I derailed it. I derailed it. You didn't derail it. I mean, after the whole, okay, I kind of already knew that that um, that occurred in the opening statements, right? That a readjustment, that's what we'll call it, right? Um, but I didn't watch the director. I didn't watch his testimony. I just paid attention and time stamped it, and then of course didn't bother to write it down. So that's hence the scrolling. And so when he said it out loud, I I wasn't qu- I it wasn't new information, but like, you know what I mean? I what Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. I um I'm completely interested in the Vallow case. I for multiple reasons and different there's just a lot to that case. It's that I find interesting. Um but I just that was kind of heavy to hear tonight, and so I think that um maybe we, just taking a little bit of a break from that, and you know there's a lot of other like i- super interesting cases going on right now, and I'm kind of keeping just one eye on Kylie Roden's case because I can't quite figure it out. And I don't like to talk about things if I can't quite figure them out. So, yeah. I sub to support with Steffa. Yes. Yes. Lori should never be free. Lori should be studied, just like Chris Watts. These, see, it's the people you don't see coming that need to be studied. And Lori should absolutely be studied. Chad, not so much. Not so much. Because this is what I think. I believe if not for Lori, Chad would really have gone nowhere. He would still be, married to his wife, and he would, it would have his he would have still been writing his books and whatnot, but I don't think it would have reached the level that it did. Um, I think Lori, I think the combination of those two together, quite frankly, how they will refer to certain couples as like the perfect storm. Separate, they won't do anything, but together, they will. And it'll be interesting too when this trial comes up to see how much of Lori's history they allow in, like her first husband and that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Oh, no, no, no. Oh, yeah, no. See, Chris Watts is a different brand of monster, but he is a monster and should be studied. And Lori Vallow is a different type of monster, but she should be studied as well. Absolutely, because the way that she was able to manipulate so many people and get them to do her dirty work. And I don't mean just with Tylee and JJ. I'm talking about just in life. She always had somebody else doing the dirty work for her. And that is a special brand of monster. And you've definitely got to study those, you know. Oh, you're so welcome. Support with stuff. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, guys. Yeah, Chad is as dull as a toad. Yes, you may. Please do. I use it frequently. CW needs to be studied. They didn't. Not in this documentary. In fact, what they talked about was the allegations of SA between that occurred to Colby by her second husband. Good night, Max. Yeah, I got it. Let's reconvene and we'll talk tomorrow while we wait to see if any of the witnesses opt out, opt in, what they opt. So I want to say thank you guys for coming in tonight. Thank you guys for all of your support and great conversation. Tomorrow night at 8 Eastern, I'm going to be over on Like and Legion's channel. We're going to talk about movies and what else? The House of the Dragon and just stuff like that. And I might come. It depends on how late I go, and also depends on what happens tomorrow. If there's a lot of testimony and people are opting in, then I'll go for a little while over to Lycans, and maybe like an hour, and then just come over here at 9 o'clock and um, do our live. And then yeah, and then Saturday I'm gonna do the West Memphis 3. And I did get an email back from Benny Keys, and he did say that he would be down to come on Saturday at 9. Hey Heather, whatever. So yeah, that'll be fun. So oh, thank you for being here so I can have somebody to discuss this with. I don't have anybody really I mean, I have some like real life people that like a little bit of true crime, but not like they don't get into it like I do. And Alice is tired of talking about it with me. She's like, Mom, can we talk about something else? This subject is very boring to me. So yeah, I think you guys will like. I think it'll be a good live. I really do. I do. I think it'll be entertain. It'll be fun and educational. We'll all learn some stuff. I'm excited. Really am. All right, you guys. So I'm gonna end this, and we're gonna try again tomorrow. I'll be here at 8:50 to see who's see what's happening, see what's what. Um, just keep an open mind, Aussie girl. We're gonna talk West Memphis 3, so okay, should be fine. All right. Good night from Ohio. Thank you for all you do. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Gail. That'll be cool. I'll still be live tomorrow. I don't know if but we'll see what they do tomorrow morning. All right, you guys have a great rest of your night, and I will hopefully see you tomorrow morning. And hopefully there will be so many witnesses that opt in that we just can't take it. All right. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.